Coach Teresa Ford here, and this is the Guiding You Home podcast. This is a thought-provoking and often humorous approach to moving you closer to the only one who can genuinely help you live a life of abundance and prosperity. Sound good? Yeah, it's you that needs to go within so you can sit in the driver's seat of your life, co-creating with God. So make room for more light and knowledge. As you continue to listen, you will discover elements of how to lead with your inner light, how to act on your specific promptings, and how to follow your spiritual intuition so you can fulfill the measure of your creation. Thanks for being here, and let's dive in. Hello and welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here for this episode. This is really going to be a fun one. On the last episode, I was starting to talk a little bit about the power of three, and I promised a little bit of information about how the power of three can affect our lives. So going all the way back to when I was in fitness, and I realized that when I would give my clients an exercise that I wanted them to get proficient at, meaning I wanted their brain to make a connection with their muscles. Well, it's not the only reason, but it is a very powerful reason to do any exercise 3 times, is because it literally gets the message to your muscle. Your brain is trying to find the muscles, and when you're a beginner, or you're just starting out, or it's been a while since you've exercised last, you'll notice that the first time you do the exercise is like, I don't know, I'm just doing the motion. I'm just copying what I saw someone else do. I'm just trying to move my body. The second time, we're a little more familiar with the move and going through the motions, and we're like, okay, I kind of understand how to get to the goal. If it's a V up and you're trying to, put your hands on your toes, your body has to move an awful lot of muscles to figure out how to get that job done. So just about the only thing not helping is your big toe and your earlobes. And so when you're doing this exercise, it's going to take a second to feel coordinated, to pull all of your body together, doing that V up, to come together from a flat place on the ground and pull everything together in a cohesive way. On the third round, you're going to be like, okay, I understand the assignment, but you're going to be able to do fewer. In your brain, that doesn't count. Doing fewer of anything at any point doesn't count. That's not true. That's just your brain. It's your brain making up rules about what it thinks success looks like. So when you are working on building a better life, not just a better body, you have to give your body and your mind time to work together. You have to give your mind and your spirit a chance to work together. So one of the powerful threes, besides doing an exercise 3 times to get the message to the muscle, because by the way, if you do an exercise 3 times and you max out each time, you're going to be sore the next day. That is your indicator, because your brain can find pain. Your brain is like, oh, it hurts right here. If it's in your shoulder, it hurts right here. You found your pecs. Wherever there's pain, your brain's like, there it is. So the next time, by the way, the recovery time should only be 3 days. If you're sore for 4, you're sore for 5, you did too much. Or it's the first time you did the exercise 3 times, and you will be sore for 5 days, but it'll never happen again. It's just how your body works. But do an exercise 3 times, your brain finds the muscle, it finds it so effectively that you're sore the next day. You can tap it, you can touch it, you can point to the pain, and that sore muscle is a really good indicator you did it just right when you recovered on the 3rd day. 3 days. So I probably don't need to tell you that Christ rose on the 3rd day. Like, he was dead and he came back to life on the 3rd day. Your body's dead and it comes back to life on the 3rd day. You're right. Like, I'm ready to go. My muscles are re-energized. They're renewed. So there's the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. There's a 3, right? Birth, life, and death. 3, harmony, wisdom, and understanding. Those are key components to personal growth. Finding harmony through life, finding your inner wisdom to guide you, and finding the understanding to see other people for who they are and where they are, so that you don't come unglued. And so recognizing a pattern, the bare minimum of any pattern starts with 3. Can't really follow a pattern to see what works and what doesn't work unless you see it in 3s. Look at your life. This will be interesting. And maybe you can give me some feedback in the comments or email me, whatever. But look at your life and notice the lesson that was the hardest for you to learn came in 3s. And it came light, then it came pretty strong, but not enough to move you, and then it knocked you down, took you out. And it happened in 3s. You lost a little money, kind of learned a lesson, took another risk, lost more money, and then the final one was a big blowout, relationships. Notice if they're in a decline or if they're in an incline as you learn the importance of 3 and the power behind doing something 3 times. Maybe you invested and it went pretty well, and so you're like, okay, I'm going to invest again, and it went much better, and then you invested big because you felt like you had the confidence to do it, and it went really well. Just look for patterns of 3, because we might have looked at Christ's crucifixion as a bad thing, a sad thing, but it was the best thing, because it allowed him, when he said, I'm going to raise this temple in 3 days, it allowed him to do what he said he was going to do. Like if we die trying to do something in life, it feels like it's going to kill us. Like it feels like a death of us. It's probably the best thing that's ever happened to you, because now you can do what you said you could do, or what you've known you could do all along. And here you come. You come right back. So just watch. Growth, expansion, and journey. Those are 3 aspects of developing you. Growth is never going to stop. Expansion, let's hope it never stops. And journey, it's a guarantee. It's never going to end. Meaning that we're here to sift and sort all the way through life. No matter what we're going through, no matter how hard it gets, if it's getting harder, there's a lesson there, and the universe is like, please learn this quickly, please learn this quickly, please learn quickly, pay attention. But if it's going well, you have paid attention, and now your energy is open, you're wide open, you have no upper limit issues, you're just going to all the places you've ever wanted to go. But if it's getting worse and getting worse and getting worse, you're in a pattern that needs to stop immediately. Sometimes, like I've always said, you're the hardest person to see, so sometimes you need to get help on board. Sometimes those patterns come in triplicates and you find yourself flat on your back. I found myself in that exact same pattern of this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working, and I was flat on my back going, okay, what do you want from me? Talking to God. He and I having a little father-daughter conversation. What do you want from me? What is it that I am not getting here? And when I'm flat on my back, which I have been many times in my life, and they were probably, if I sat down and thought about it, they were probably all different topics, taking me down, 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 till I was like paying attention, finally. What? What is it you want from me? And 9 times out of 10, my just asking that question brings the answers. And sometimes it brings it in triplicate, but sometimes it's the triplicate of what I'm doing, the patterns that I'm following. Prayer, meditation, journaling. Prayer, meditation, journaling. And then the answers come. Like, just look at your life. Look for the 3s. Look for the ways in which you are finally getting the message. So you're not just going through the motions anymore, like doing the exercise. You're not just mimicking what you see. You're actually owning it. Because over time, if you're consistent with your efforts, let's talk about the body again. If you're consistent with your efforts in exercising, it will not always be that hard as it was in the beginning. So if you're trying to do a sit-up, if you're trying to do a push-up, and I don't mean a lazy push-up, I mean a real push-up, chin to the ground, chest to the ground, hips off the ground, on your toes. If you're doing a real push-up, it takes consistent effort to get the message to the muscle. Your mind's like, where is that muscle? If I get on the ground, I can't get back up again without using my knees. Where's the muscle that lifts me? Well, there's only about 95 of them, so don't get too caught up in which muscle it is. But it's all the big muscles, the major muscles, and it's the minor muscles, and it's all the nervous system in between. And there's a lot going on. So when you're consistent and you are working out, say, 3 times a week, because if you're recovering in between, right, you're doing weights and then you're doing cardio and you're doing weights and you're doing cardio and you're alternating like that, but the weights 3 times a week is enough to get you where you're trying to go. But you're doing each exercise 3 times and it gets the message to the muscle. Then you're recovering, and on the 3rd day, you're ready to go again. If you're using weights and your legs are sore on the day after next, because you're working out every other day, you're using a different muscle group, right? That's just common sense. You're not going to rework a sore muscle. That's not smart. Your body has to have time to recover. So, my ADHD brain is taking over. Hang on. I got to finish and complete this thought. When you start on, let's say you start January exercising, by March, month 3, you are going to have a very different experience doing the same V-up or the same push-up. Very different experience, because your brain has had an opportunity in every workout to spend 3 maxed out efforts finding those muscles. And so in the beginning, you're doing knee push-ups, and you might not even be getting all the way to the ground on those knee push-ups. You're doing the best you can, and you have to be okay with the best you can when you're working in triplicates. Just be okay with it. And it's not even in triplicates. It's just be with yourself for those 3 rounds of doing the best you can. And then you're doing that for the next 12 weeks. At the end of month 3, your push-up's going to look a lot different, because you have given your body a chance to accept, I know where to find that muscle. Your brain also has had the chance to say, I know where to find that muscle. And when you're making a mind-muscle connection, your body, mind, and spirit are working together. Your spirit's like, woo! Finally feels good to be free in a body. Your spirit is this great big entity squoze in an itty-bitty little living space, like the Aladdin would say, the genie on Aladdin. So when your body feels good, your spirit's like, whew, what a relief. And your brain's on board. It's with your body. It's with your spirit. It's no longer dragging your body through the mire. It's with you. You become one. You're whole. So body, mind, and spirit, you're whole. That is part of your growth expansion journey. You have to become whole. If there's parts of you that are still fragmented out there, they're underdeveloped. Those are those trauma patterns that you're like, oh, betrayal. Haha, look, there it is again. I feel yucky gut soup. Every time I feel betrayal, I feel angry. I get hot in the head. I boil when I feel betrayal. But if you can just like, oh, name it, here it is, betrayal. Put it in the palm of your hand. Look at it. Oh, betrayal. I'm not betrayal. I feel betrayal. Betrayal is something I need to take personal responsibility for. And now that underdeveloped part of me that was still angry about something that happened in the past can finally be shown love, forgiveness, and thanks. Thank you for teaching me. If I'm feeling betrayal, thank you for teaching me what I need to know so I can let you go. Bye. Our negative emotions are patterns. They're patterns of thought and behavior and the way it makes us feel. And so watch for those. Watch for those, because that's part of the growth expansion journey. That's the triplicate. And so you can't grow if you're not willing to look at what's holding you back. Expansion's really hard if you don't understand the healing process. And the journey is going to feel long and arduous if there is no growth and expansion. So you get to decide what your journey looks like. But just keep that number pattern in mind, the power of 3. So much happens in 3s, right? If you are spiritual at all, God, Christ, Holy Ghost. harmony, wisdom, understanding, birth, life, death. We're living it. We're living the patterns of 3. We're living it every day. So watch for 3s in your life. Watch the clock energetically. When the clock is 333, or you look at your odometer, it's 333, or you look at your battery power, it's 33. Just watch for the 3s. It's kind of funny because those who have been assigned to you in the spirit world are like, hey, see, 3, see, you're learning something. Notice what you're doing. Notice what your thoughts are all about when you see the 3s. Just think, go back quickly, rewind the tape in your head. Like, what was I just thinking about when I was like, hey, I wonder what time it is? Oh, 333. And you're like, hey, I wonder what the odometer says. Oh, 333. Those little sparks in your head, they're nudging you. It's like, check that out. What is that? What time is it? What does the odometer say? How much battery power do I have? Wonder how many notifications I have. My family number is 32, so I always see a 32 in my notifications, no matter what day it is. If I've gone through all my notifications, if I cleared them, whatever I do, it always says 32. So just watch. You'll have your numbers, but when you're learning about the power of 3s, look for the cycles, the patterns in your life of 3s. When you learned your lesson, what happened, what the date was, what the time was, you'll start to see the patterns too. But everything that we experience in this life, literally, we're not even trying to birth, life, death. We're experiencing the pattern of 3. So it's more fun for your awareness and to become and practice becoming more aware of your surroundings, that you're not just here to stomp through life. You're not just here trying to get a better job. There's just so much more to you. Spiritually speaking, you are a great big spiritual giant inside of this little itty bitty body that is relegated to having to sleep, eat, gravity, laws of time. Yeah, it's a lot of work. We're not as free as we'd like to be, but we can be as free as we can in the body and just become more aware of our surroundings, patterns in our lives. There's so many angel messages around you, and you're in it. You are in the pattern. You can't get out of it. It's, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. It's there, and it was written way before you showed up. So anyway, just a fun little tidbit for you to ponder in your mind and watch for in your life, and thanks for listening. The next episode, by the way, is going to be all about why life has been hard for you. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening. I invite you to leave your feedback and share your aha moments as you listen to this podcast. Also, you can access more information or any of the programs, courses, or worksheets that I've mentioned on these episodes on my website at teresaford.life. Or what I would really love is for you to connect with me on Instagram at teresaford.coaching and on Facebook at Coaching with Teresa Ford, so I can give you more interesting insights and further coaching to help you fulfill the measure of your creation.